And a good midday on this Friday afternoon. Looking at the big picture here, Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards Forecaster, the Outlook video. We're seeing a lot of thunderstorm activity. This is an upper level low, and the surface low is a little further to the north of that, spreading in a lot of rain showers, but the leading edge is a frontal boundary that's pushed into some, and you'll notice that unstable air is basically in the middle Atlantic states, the middle Atlantic coast, Carolinas, Virginia, working its way a little further to the north and east. It has not really become unstable yet across a good section of Vermont. A lot of cloud cover kind of dampening down convection, but I still am expecting a little late day convection that's going to kind of eke in across especially western and northern parts of Vermont, and then that eventually is going to sweep to the south and east. Then that effect is it's going to produce some embedded thunderstorm activity. I think more isolated nature, maybe widely scattered, and we could see one or two of the thunderstorms reach a little stronger levels, with maybe some gusts reaching near thresholds for some wet microburst downbursting winds. However, that looks like it's going to be few and far between, even if it does happen at all. Temperatures look like this, starting to rise through the 70s in many locations. And our dew point temperatures also look like this. We've managed to get some low 60s in here, so a little bit humid, and it is pushing out the 50s with a kind of a southwesterly flow, and that's going to add to just some slight instability. Let's take a look at the computer modeling world. And this is valid basically a little bit later on during the overnight period into Friday night. And what we can see is a little bit more showers that get revamped. This is valid about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. But the back edge is going to start to push on out with a weak cold front. That's going to introduce drier air. This is the GFS ensemble on the right-hand side, the European on the left. So continuing that along, we have a nice dry Sunday, and no issues at all there. We get into Monday, we have this little warm frontal boundary. This is from an area of low pressure way back. You can see it's way back into the Dakotas, and this warm front extending way far to the east. Probably going to produce a few sprinkles, and that's going to be about it. You can see just a little bit of that across the northern tier regions of Vermont. That moves on out. And then it kind of, this will be kind of a stationary frontal boundary, and it's going to be close enough that it may come in backdoor and sort of work its way backwards, that is, heading back from northeast to southwest. And you can see just a few rain showers going into Tuesday night, into the day on, almost into the day on Wednesday. However, an area of higher pressure builds up, and it looks like we're going to see some better conditions at that point in time on Wednesday for the next best project weather. And looking a little bit longer range here, we have unsettled weather toward the end of next week, looking at Thursday morning here at about 8 o'clock in the morning. GFS ensemble, it's pretty much just not any resolution to it, so a lot of noise in the system, if you will. But the European is definitely showing you with a deterministic here, a little bit of shower activity. Maybe, who knows, we might even see some rumbles of thunder with that. That would happen along about Thursday overnight into the morning hours on Friday. That gets pushed on out, and then checking next weekend, pretty cool temperatures across parts of northern Canada. The other thing I want to show you here is we're going to have to start talking about the tropics, because we do have an area of low pressure that is going to be developing off the Mexican coast. This is a little bit south of Acapulco, and instead of heading up toward Baja and then toward Hawaii in the warmer Pacific waters, and then hitting those colder waters, this is going to take an unusual track as it's going to be pulled across Mexico. It's going to dump out in the Bay of Campeche, and even the GFS ensemble is onto this now. You can see it's some kind of an area of low pressure here. There it is here, pretty close to the Yucatan, and then eventually that's going to move into the Gulf of Mexico. So you can see the precipitation fields are being lit up here, interpreted. And it does look like we can see some kind of tropical storm or tropical depression that'll be in the Gulf of Mexico, coming very close to the Bay of Campeche. And the other thing is this is going to be a long ways off. We're talking about the 5th of June into the 6th of June. And looking at the GFS ensemble with the centered on the grid point for Montpelier, the grid point here. And we can see kind of a double peak here. This is the rain showers that are going to be occurring this afternoon. A little bit of a die down overnight, and then a second peak during the day on Saturday. And once the front goes on through, we have dry weather until we get into a little tiny bits and pieces of moisture. It looks like this is going to be mainly over our weekend, Sunday, into a good portion of Monday. And we might have a little bit of sprinkles. And From here on out, it's just noise in the system. Looking at the total QPF, total amounts of accumulated precipitation under 1 inch amounts. And more or less, we're talking somewhere around probably 6/10, 7/10 of an inch. Quick look at dew point temperatures this afternoon. This Friday afternoon, we do hit the mid-60s here, and then the dew point temperatures cool off into the upper 50s. A little secondary burst in the low 60s, and then that cold front will issue drier, more stable air, and nothing to worry about. Once we get into the quite a ways down the road here, we're going to see dew point temperatures try to make a run toward the 60-degree mark. This is convective available potential energy. On the low end, for the most part, for both today as well as tomorrow. And then this comes back a little bit here. This is 1,000 joules per kilogram. We get our really big days, generally above 800 and then higher, of course. These are getting into the picture here, so something could be around the corner to watch. Talking QPF, the total amount of precipitation, we're looking at less than 1 inch amounts with the blue line here across southern parts of Vermont. A little bit more than 1 inch amounts, and 1.5 inches up near the northern tier region. This looks to be the area that's going to see the most rainfall. Again, this is over a 7-day period. The European model is generally giving us a little bit below normal to near normal, a little bit slightly above normal in some locations of south central Vermont, but for the most part, nothing extraordinary. Here's where we stand currently with slightly above normal temperature anomalies here. A little bit below normal in some locations, and the west coast is starting to heat up just a bit. Taking a look at the MOS temperatures, this is meteorological output statistics. You can see we're running about 3 to 6 degrees above normal. A little colder up in the Canadian Maritimes and off to the west, and a good portion of the west coast seeing below normal temperatures. About 3 days later, this is 5-day high temperatures, and then 3 days later it looks like this. We warm things up, not so much in the west. They kind of stay chilly, but we're looking at above normal temperatures here, modeled 3 to 7 days out by the Weather Prediction Center. Looking at our dew points. So a little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity a little bit later on today. You can see some of the showers here. This is going to take most of the day to get here and then start to flirt with the northern and western corner of the state at first. And this is where we could see probably the strongest storms. That's going to happen late today and into the early to mid-evening hours across the northern areas. Keep watching for the latest heads up that'll be issued just a little bit later in the future. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.